Problem 4 asks you to evaluate a just-in-time inventory system, and they ask you to determine if it's a pure just-in-time or an approximate just-in-time. And a pure just-in-time means you don't buy anything or make anything until you need it. An approximate just means you keep the levels really low. Most systems are approximate. Okay, so the way things are going for this Ms. LeBlanc right now is she has to buy a lot of stuff because her supplier demands a 6-week lead time. Can't afford to have stock out, can't afford to lose sales, so she has that. The cost of this inventory costs her about $67,000 a year, and she pays 5% annual finance charge. Her accountant, obviously a very wise individual, has suggested that she establish a relationship with a single large distributor who can satisfy all of her orders within a 2-week time period. 4-week time savings. Given this quick turnaround, she'll be able to reduce her average inventory to about $17,000. $50,000 less inventory, less holding costs. She also believes, Reed guesses, that she could save $9,000 per year by reducing phone bills. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Insurance, that makes sense. And warehouse rental, that certainly makes sense. So, given those facts, let's take a look at the questions they're asking us and see if we can come up with some answers. First, they say, is the new inventory system a pure or approximate? Well, this system is not a pure just-in-time inventory system because she carries some inventory. So, this is an approximate system. And like I said earlier, most are. Because she does carry some. The only time you would have a really pure inventory system would be if you were, suppose you were a restaurant and you went out each morning and bought fresh vegetables and fresh meat, and you only bought enough to sell that night, and you went out the next morning and did the same thing. That would be a pure just-in-time. Because things like salt and pepper and flour and whatever other, little condiments, that wouldn't count. But the inventory, the meat, the vegetables, things like that. If you went out and bought it that morning to sell that day, that would be a pure system. They're not all that common. What's the reduced cost of her inventory? Well, that's pretty straightforward. She was carrying $67,000 worth of inventory. She believes if she does this, she can get away with $17,000. That's $50,000 savings right there. So she doesn't have to spend that $50,000, which we're told she usually finances at 5%. So she will absolutely save 5% of that, and that's $2,500. So, what's her total eliminated inventory cost? Do not be tricked by looking at that. She's going to buy that same amount of inventory. She's just going to buy it in smaller bites delivered throughout the year. But she is going to save the $2,500 because she's not going to have to finance that. And she's going to save the $9,000 in warehouse, insurance, and telephone expenses. And that's $11,500. And that's a pretty good example of the holding savings for just-in-time inventory. But remember, it's an approximate. Only some very rare and unique situations are pure just in time.